Welcome to this episode of CosRail, and today our special guest is BellaVoce, cosplayer and photographer, or should I say, photographer and cosplayer.
Hello. It really doesn't matter. I think the photographer came first, then the cosplayer.
So, tell me, what have you been up to lately?
Just getting finished with summer courses. I have one more class. Basically working all the time. I know what costumes I will be working on next. I just haven't gotten the time to actually do it.
So we can expect a few costumes from you coming up. Would you like to share what those are?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to EXPCon in St. Augustine in October, and I plan to debut Yellow from Pokemon and Sean Mars from Heavy Rain. Those are the two main ones I am going to debut.
So I believe I've known you for almost 2 years, is that right?
Yeah, I think we met in September of 2009.
How do you feel you may have changed since then, as far as maybe being a photographer or being a cosplayer?
Photography-wise, I can definitely say that I have developed a little bit more, unless other people have seen a difference, because I pace myself, and I don't usually rush at doing something, so I take my time. As for cosplaying, I only get to work on, like, a cosplay maybe once or twice a year, and the same thing happens with photography. I take my time, whether if it's a huge costume or just something so simple.
Do you feel you've gotten any better? I knew when we used to go to the big shoots, you used to get a lot of experience and share a lot of things between us. Do you feel that as a photographer or as a cosplayer, do you feel you've become any better in any of those areas?
Yeah, definitely. In photography, I'm already getting cosplayer friends of mine trying to gather up a photo shoot together. With cosplay, I even ask you sometimes or some of my other friends for advice, like, oh, how do you do bias tape? That was a new one for me because I've never used bias tape before. So I asked my friend Andrea, aka Ichigo Kitty, how to do bias tape, and she showed me one day when I went to her house, and it's just the simple things that matter.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't really have a lot of experience, like myself, there aren't really many people around here, so having to get those connections.
Moving definitely makes it harder.
Yeah.
I really don't know anybody here in St. Petersburg. I know there's a few cosplayers here, but we've never gotten together, so I just head back to Sarasota, where I'm originally from. Ask my grandmother who taught me how to sew, and I'll go to Andrea's house now and then and help her do cosplay.
As a photographer, what kind of equipment do you use?
I use a Nikon D7000. I first started with a Fuji.
Yeah.
I always say Fiji. Maybe because I was like small and my dad's like, oh, here's a Fuji. And I was like, oh, Fiji apples, because I love Fiji apples.
Yeah.
Fuji. Yeah, I started with a Fuji film point and shoot, and then I went to a Sony point and shoot. Then I saved my money, and my dad convinced me to get a Nikon D50. Then I finally upgraded to now the D7000, and I absolutely love it. It's great. Other equipment, I have a tripod and a reflector and a flash. That's about it. I plan to expand. Oh, no, I forgot. My dad got me a little lighting kit for Christmas one year. That's in a box downstairs. I've used it a couple of times, but it's just too much of a hassle to put up and break down. I rather rent out like a space and have my own studio.
So we can assume you're a Nikon person.
I am a Nikon person. However, I also love Canons. My stepfather owns a Canon. I don't know the model. I think it's like 70. I'm not too sure. But I used that camera for the first few large photo shoots that we've been together. I think I decided to use my D50 and I wasn't feeling it, so I went back to the Canon for another photo shoot. Then I got the D7000, and that's where it went from there.
So I was wondering, when you take pictures, is there anything that you aim for, anything kind of going through your mind? I notice there's a certain style. It can't really describe it, but if you have anything you can kind of give insight on.
I think a lot of people noticed where when I shoot somebody, whether it's a cosplayer or just a regular portrait, I seem to put the subject either to the left or right side and get the background either to the opposite side. I don't know, it has like a weird feeling to it, and I have those extreme angle shots that I have that, I don't know, it's kind of like my signature bunny ears. I don't know. I guess a lot of people are starting to pick out things I do in my photos.
As a photographer, do you do any bookings for conventions or any private shoots? Do you still do any of that?
This past MetroCon, I actually got two bookings, and those were kind of last minute. I only could shoot on Friday. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would do it again, but being like a cosplayer photographer, it's like, oh, I want to cosplay these days. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to do photography and get better and see if my experience can be brought upon other people and see what they think. It's kind of like a hit or miss kind of thing. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but I kind of want to do that.
Now, as a cosplayer, you've done an interesting choice of characters. Is there anything that attracts you to picking some of the characters you've done?
Well, I've noticed that I've been doing a lot of blonde hair characters. It's starting to annoy me a little bit because I'm like, I need to change. I mean, there's nothing wrong with picking, the same colored character, but I need to change for a chance. So I'm trying to get out of like the blonde haired people. And then again, I kind of choose the selfish, boyish type, like Hisoka Kurosaki from Yami no Matsue. He's the selfish, rude type and just doesn't want to be bothered. But inside he's depressed and trying to find the right way out. Kind of like those types.
Does it ever become a problem being both a photographer and a cosplayer?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The Metricon thing, it's like, oh, I was cosplaying the same time I was photographing, which made it kind of hard because some cosplays you make a mistake. Like Winnery had a slight mistake in it, and I couldn't step 3 or 4 steps if I had to, and not one by one because my serger accidentally took in some fabric, and it's kind of hard to climb on things, so I had to like physically jump. It's basically some mistakes or just the fact that plans may have been screwed up. But I always go for a plan B, like, oh, let's look on the bright side. I'm not a negative person, really. I just try to find positive ways out of it if something happens. How I was raised, never walk with your head down, which I sometimes do, but I think happy thoughts as much as possible, and I always smile, so that really makes my day.
I believe that's usually a good way. A lot of times, maybe I'll have a problem with something or someone, and then it doesn't happen at first, but I'll just, try to sit back and smile and try not to worry too much about it.
Best. Like, even if you are about to, like, go to bed, just pop in your iPod and listen to it and fall asleep. I do that a lot. I love falling asleep to music, and it definitely loses my mind into outer space and calms my body and just all that. I guess you can say it's like a spiritual kind of thing.
I usually fall asleep with Adult Swim playing in the background or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think as a photographer and cosplayer, you always try to have to look the best thing. That's usually the thing is for some people, such as myself, even though we aren't the best, or, well, I guess it's arguable, even though we may not be the best at what we do, and we are our own worst critic, we always kind of have high standards, but at the same time.
Exactly. And you can never say what you like better when somebody's like, oh, what do you like better, photography or cosplaying? And it's like, it's kind of hard. I look on to things as they were equal, so I love photography and cosplaying as they were equal individuals.